Madam Clerk, let us move forward with Agenda Item 6.
Item number 6 is, shall the following advisory question of public policy be placed on the ballot for submission to the votes in the Township of Peoria in Peoria County in the state of Illinois for the November 3rd, 2026 election? Shall the Illinois congressional members who represent Peoria Township vote to support the Illinois Human Rights Advocacy Protection Act, House Bill 2723 and Senate Bill 2462, which would repeal amendments to the Illinois Pension Code that penalize American businesses that choose to boycott Israel?
It is appropriate for a spokesperson for the petitioners on this item to offer comments for up to 5 minutes. Do we have a spokesperson? Yes. Please state your name.
My name is Justin Luba.
Okay. And please proceed.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak, Madam Moderator. Just to quickly clarify the question asked by the Township Attorney. So the reference to congressional members was meant as a reference to Illinois state representatives. The language in the bill doesn't specifically, the word congressional members was a mistake, but we mean the state representatives who would be voting on overturning this particular issue. So thank you for the opportunity to speak. The referendum we are asking you all to vote yes on is an important Illinois human rights issue, an issue of constitutional freedom of speech, and a critical financial issue for our state. This is not a partisan issue. A vote of yes today will place the aforementioned referendum on the November ballot and is not a vote on the content of the referendum itself. In Illinois, we have a law that makes it illegal for state funds, particularly pension funds, to be invested in companies that divest from or boycott Israel, thereby requiring that Illinois Pension Board make investment decisions that protect Israeli national interests over those of our public sector retirees. This law is a restriction on corporations' freedom of speech, and a similar law failed in the Illinois National Congress 1 year before it passed in the Illinois legislature. The Illinois Pension Board, which determines the companies to restrict funding to, advises the pension fund managers of 7 Illinois retirement funds. This Illinois Pension Board is comprised of unelected members who dictate financial policies for Illinois. The Illinois Pension Board has no fiduciary responsibility to the pensioners of Illinois, no oversight, and no fiscal analysis. This means that they can direct the Illinois Pension Board to divest from corporations without any thought to how this will affect Illinois pensioners financially or in terms of their ability to live quality lives. Because of this, the Illinois Pension Fund has a high potential for abuse by members who have the benefit of national foreign interests in mind. This is a clear violation of financial ethics. The Illinois Pension Board has forced funds to be sold at a loss after conducting no substantial analysis of the long-term impacts of this policy. At this time, 31 companies, including Adidas and Air Canada, appear on the prohibited investment list. The 5 affected Illinois retirement systems, TRS, SERS, of which I'm a member, SERS, GARS, and JRS, collectively manage approximately 120 to 130 billion assets. The potential for losses is devastating and in excess of hundreds of millions of dollars. The equal-weighted basket of restricted companies returned approximately 15.7% annually over a representative 5-year period compared to approximately 8.6% for the national benchmark. This spread of approximately 7.1 percentage points per year has been lost to Illinois pensioners due to the law that this referendum question is gauging public interest on to overturn. Our effort here is in support of the Illinois Human Rights Advocacy Protection Act, referred to in the referendum, which aims to restore constitutional protections for peaceful protests, support the financial health of Illinois Retiree Pension Fund, and separate Illinois law from foreign policy agendas. By voting yes to add the referendum question to the November ballot, we will have the opportunity to let our representatives know our stance on this issue. Thank you.
You're welcome. Mr. Township Attorney, do you have any follow-up questions for the spokesperson?
I do not, Madam Moderator, so we are ready to proceed with the question.
Okay. We need a motion and a second for this item. Can I get a motion? Moved by the speaker, yes. And a second? Can you, okay. You get that name, Madam Clerk?
No, who made the motion? Okay. And did we have a second?
She was the second.
Oh, okay, who made the initial motion? Thank you.
The speaker, the
Thank you.
spokesperson, sorry.
Okay, thank you.
Any discussion? Yes, please, come forth and state your name.
Kathy McNeil, and I'm a Peoria, Illinois United States citizen. I'm a member of the Peoria chapter of ACLU, not representing them now, but as a citizen, I want to remind everyone about the First Amendment, the freedom of speech, and of course, freedom of assembly, so we thank you for this meeting. Also, in the Declaration of Independence, you know, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men and women are created equal. So let's see, I think that's about it. So with that being said, you might expect that my comment on this vote would be yes, to change undeniably the parts of the law that we pretty much believe is unequal rights.
Okay, thank you.
My name is Sheldon Schaefer, a resident of Peoria Township. I'm asking for a vote yes on this item. As we saw in 2022, and again in 2024, and again in 2026, as we passed advisory referenda onto the voters, this is exactly what this process, as the attorney described, this is exactly how this process is meant to be used. It's an effective tool for speaking to our legislators in a large mass of voters from within a township. 10 or 20 or 30,000 voters can weigh in. The speakers suggesting their opposition to this are speaking as though this is a vote on the item itself, but it's not. They should express their opposition to potential voters in the election when this item would appear. And there's no foregone conclusion, at least I have no foregone conclusion, that it would pass or fail at the November election. That's up to the voters. But the voters should be given the chance and the opportunity and the right, as we've seen in the past, is an effective way to speak to our legislators. This is absolutely the business of a township meeting, to give the members of the township a chance in one opportunity, one election, to essentially send letters to your legislator in the form of an advisory referendum. The legislators may not listen to the vote, but they certainly will know how the voters feel. And I would not say it's a foregone conclusion of the outcome of that vote, but I think we need to put it on the ballot in order to know what the electorate feels. So I urge, pass this on to the voters, as we have in the last three, as I said, in 22, 24, and 26 on electoral reform. It's been an effective tool. Let's keep using it.
Yes, my name is Lawrence Michard. I'm one of the co-founders of Peoria for Palestine. I've been an activist in many human rights campaigns here in Peoria and beyond. And now I want to make sure that people understand what's going on. You know, and I want to thank the township government for allowing us to have the chance to put a citizen-based referendum, non-binding, on the ballot. That's all this is doing. And it's really interesting to see the fear that's coming out here for the people of Peoria Township to have that opportunity. The reason we've gone through the township governmental process is there is no state process to have citizen-based referenda placed on the ballot. Illinois is one of the worst states to do this. There's just no opportunity. But thank goodness the township governmental system allows citizen-based referenda to be placed on the ballot. Now that's participatory democracy in its most direct form. There's nothing in between the people, the registered voters, and the outcome of what we're asking here. So this is township business. And if anyone has any awareness of what's going on in the world right now, you better believe this affects Peoria. You know, has anyone ever heard of Caterpillar? Has anyone ever heard of the Caterpillar's investment in the war machine of Israel and the United States that directly affects the tax base, the profits of that multi-billion-dollar corporation? So don't tell me that this doesn't affect Peoria. It surely does. And what we're trying to do is repeal the unjust, unfair, and absolutely unconstitutional law, Illinois law, that bans the state from doing business with anyone who boycotts Israel, who divests from Israel, who sanctions Israel. Has anyone ever heard of a law like that is only on one nation? No. This law was put in by the Israeli Zionist lobby, who is very powerful. We all understand that, and we're pushing back on that. They should not get a free ride. Israel should not get a free ride, and they should not be able, to say, oh, you can't criticize us. You can't do business with the state of Illinois if you're on record as boycotting Israel. I mean, my God, look at the war we're involved in right now. With Iran, it's a mess. Thousands and thousands of people are being killed, and this is all at the direction of Israel. Okay, so let's make sure that we all understand that we're part of local, state, and international processes that affect every one of us. People in Peoria have had their families killed. They're gone in this process. We have to honor these people whose lives have been lost. This is right here in town. A lot of money has been lost, and we're talking about pensions that can't be invested in for the state of Illinois because they have come out on the side of human rights against Israel. Now, there's no way that there should be an Illinois law that prohibits boycotting of Israel, and it surely would not pass a constitutional case. And I'm surprised that it hasn't, come up yet. It's surely an unconstitutional law, and you don't have to be a legal scholar to figure this out. It's unfair, it's unjust, and we're just asking for the people of the Peoria Township to be able to decide this on their own. We trust the people. We trust the people because that's the only way that we're going to get some human rights advancement and some decency put back into our government that has been hijacked by outside interests like the Israeli lobby. And we all know the outcome of that, and it's not good. So thank you very much, Peoria Township, for allowing us to do this. This is one of the great participatory democratic actions here in Peoria, and we just want to be able to put this on the ballot. Don't be afraid of that. Thank you.
Are there any other discussion? Please come forth.
My name is Lydia Wilson, and I am a transgender woman and human rights activist. I'm also on the board of the ACLU local chapter here. I don't speak on their behalf. I don't represent them. I'm only representing myself. But I wanted to get up here today because we're talking so much about this issue. We're talking around the issue, really, except for my colleague, Mr. Michard, before me, who spoke to the actual issue at hand, that is the ongoing genocide and slaughter of millions of innocent civilians, that laws like this, laws that prevent companies from divesting from Israel, help facilitate. It helps facilitate the murder and slaughter of millions of people. And maybe you don't go outside enough if you haven't met a Palestinian in Peoria who has had family slaughtered by the war machine that we are currently helping facilitate. But I have met these people, and it is heartbreaking. It is heart-shattering. This is a human rights issue. We can talk about the civil liberties issue, and we can talk about participatory democracy if that's what it takes to get this discussion happening. But I want you to understand that lives are being lost in the millions here. It is a tragedy of unprecedented scale, and it is not anti-Semitic to say that about the state of Israel. I'd like to give a shout out to all my anti-Zionist Jewish friends, for instance. It's not anti-Semitic to say that genocide is something that should be vehemently opposed. I don't understand something. Like, I work for Starbucks, okay? And Starbucks has not had a store open in Israel since 2001 because their employees have lobbied on behalf of the Palestinians and their rights to exist and their rights not to have their homes bulldozed and their families slaughtered. And they pulled out all of their companies from Israel. Is that not a boycott? Is that not divestment? For some reason, Starbucks is not being sanctioned by the Illinois state. It is not being penalized by Illinois. That's very, very bizarre to me. I don't understand that. But I guess I'd just like to finish off by saying thank you for allowing me the chance to speak. And this is as much a human rights issue as it is a civil liberties issue. It's not just an issue of corporate free speech. It is an issue of people dying in mass. And if that doesn't move you, then I don't know where your humanity lies. Thank you.
Yes, and I just had to look back at my rules for which will govern this meeting. And the spokespersons for the petitioners on a particular item has up to 5 minutes. That's the spokesperson for the petitioner. Everyone else gets 3 minutes. So I've been a little bit overly generous. So moving forward, the commentary, other discussion is limited to 3 minutes, please.
Hello, my name is Noah Palm. Thank you, Madam Moderator. I won't take 5 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm in support of the motion. I just want to clarify two of the arguments from the opposition of the motion. First is the idea that this doesn't have to do with the township. I would argue that, one, there's no time or effort that the township board or the township itself would take in making this motion happen. Two, the motion or the advisory question would be on a national election or a ballot that has both state and federal nominees on it or candidates on it. So I think it's in line with that. The second one is the idea that national and international politics aren't local. I think we are all feeling the impacts of international and state politics, and I think we have a right and a duty to make our opinion heard on it. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Felix Scoville. I would just like to say that I think it's getting a little bit muddied what it is that we're meant to be voting on here. We are not voting whether you support Israel or whether you support companies' ability to legally, boycott, divest, and sanction Israel. We're voting on putting this question on the ballot. We're voting on people's ability to say whether or not they agree with it. So you'd think that if you are in opposition of, undoing the act that, has been mentioned or keeping it around, that you would want this on the ballot so you can make sure that your voice is heard. Like, it's one thing to come here and say that you agree or disagree. It's another thing to put your vote where your opinions are, put your vote where it matters. And that is what we're asking for. Well, not we. That's what it seems that they are asking for, is our ability to say what it is that we want, whether that is support or opposition. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hello, my name is AJ, and In the Hebrew language media based out of Israel, there was a scandal, well, was supposed to be a scandal, of Israeli soldiers caught on video camera raping and sexually assaulting Palestinian prisoners. You would think that there'll be outcry and legal accountability. They became folk heroes in Israel. They became heroes overnight, and there were protests in favor of them, defending them, and a right to rape Palestinians. They were debating in Parliament when large majorities felt like that Palestinian men, women, and children were fair legal game to sexually assault. This is an evil and godless state who is murdering, killing, and starving Palestinian men, women, children, and the elderly, and the tax dollars of working people, me, you, just about every single person in the room, is sent over to fund them. If you support Israel, to the point that you're calling that and you're penalizing democratic and civil expressions, whether or not it's okay to boycott an American right, by the way, and we're doing it for a country, a nation state. I'm not talking about entire ethnic group people, a nation state with militaries, governments, bureaucracies, a state that thinks it's okay, good and just, to rape Palestinian prisoners. God have mercy on your soul, and God forgive you, because I won't. See you in hell, I guess. Thank you.
Jonathan Voda is my name. I just want to vibe check the room a little bit. Is there anyone here that didn't come decided about this vote? Like, is anyone here like on the fence about how they're going to vote? Let's vote.
Are there any other comments? Any other discussion? Yes, Trustee Elector Carmona.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. Mr. Attorney, sorry, I forgot your name. Could you please, John, my apologies. Obviously, this is on our on this agenda for a reason. It's the opinion of the township that this is a legitimate matter to be on the township agenda for tonight, obviously.
Yeah, so I believe it's 30-205. I apologize, ironically, that I call out the petitioners on the first issue, get the citation wrong, but I believe that is the citation in the township code. The township unit of government, there is a specific carve-out in that section 205 that allows the electors to put an issue of public policy in front of the electors at an annual town meeting to discuss whether or not it should go on the ballot as a non-binding referendum. And so over the last, what would you say, Madam Clerk, 5 or 6 years, we've seen at least one of these, not on this particular issue, but I'm just saying a petition submitted that relates to public policy. We have no court cases that really define, and it's not defined in the statute, what public policy is. I mean, clearly we have that debate in front of us tonight, what is or is not. You know, we have what the code says. And so we have erred on the side of, whether it be a senior citizen related issue or otherwise, public policy is our guidepost.
Thank you very much for that clarification. I tend to agree with Councilman Trustee Euler's comments that he made pertaining to, the actual, I understand how it's written and how broad it is, but I also don't see this as a matter of public policy personally. However, reading this as it is, and hopefully my colleagues know me enough to know that I am consistent in my love for the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. And so to see that Illinois has a law that, quote, it penalizes the Illinois pension code that penalize American businesses that choose to boycott Israel is just, to me, does not land very well with a person who loves the Constitution, because in this country, you're allowed to petition against your own government. You're allowed to, whether I like it or not, burn the dang flag. You're allowed to speak freely and stand up against whatever you'd like to, so long as you're not harming anybody else. So even though that I truly believe this has nothing to do with our city and the township, personally, I tend to agree with what this petition is asking for, whether it's going to get anywhere or not, because I am consistent in my love for the Bill of Rights and the First Amendment, especially. Thank you, Madam Moderator.
You're welcome. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you all so much for the opportunity to speak tonight, Madam Moderator, as well as Council and Township. I am asking that those present tonight vote yes on the advisory question in support of the Illinois Human Rights Advocacy Protection Act. The reason being that we are in critical times. This is not unfounded. It is not unreasonable. It could not exist in this forum if it was not founded. I think that the undermining you're hearing today is truly people clutching their pearls at the idea that this is what democracy looks like. I have full faith that this will pass tonight. This did pass in Kickapoo. This will continue statewide and nationwide because it is not unfounded. It is based in human rights. It is based in an understanding of our Constitution. It is based in the belief of decency and dignity worldwide, locally and abroad. We can uphold these values here and implement them elsewhere. We do not have to fund terrorism elsewhere. We can use those dollars to support our local citizens, our local children. That is imperative. That is why this is a local issue. Thank you.
I did just want to say that I believe that the electors who are receiving the question will vote in accordance with the spirit of the question, rather than in the minutia of the technicalities implied in the language. So the folks bringing this up are not lawyers. And we, designed the question to the best of our collective abilities, but we're a small group of local activists. And so I think that it demonstrates a real disdain for your electorate, Trustee Kelly, to imply that it's silly when we're merely attempting to participate in the public process. I also don't think that the technical dimensions of the question as written will impede the question's ability to ascertain the public will, given the spirit of the referendum. So even if you retain certain misgivings about the extent to which the technical wording of the question will confuse people, or whether or not the electorate will be able to make sense, or whether or not it somehow puts Peoria to shame, I think that all of those mindsets ultimately grow from some deep biases about the actual intelligence of the people that you claim to represent and the function of referendum questions in the first place. So at least to Trustee Riggenbach, I would encourage you to reconsider. Thank you.
Welcome.
My name is Jessica Jordan. Thanks for the opportunity to speak. I had nothing prepared tonight because I wasn't planning on speaking, but I got a wild hair, so why not? I would just like to state that the state of Israel is not a religion. Jewish does not equal Israel. Two separate things. It's not boycotting a religion, it's boycotting a state, and that's two separate things. And also, it's a little bit frustrating when people can understand the meaning of something, but then they decide to go against it because they don't like specific like verbiage or specific like sentences or you know what I mean? Like it's frustrating because it feels a little bit like a cop-out, honestly. And for the people who are going to be voting on this, like my everyday people who have come in the stands and in the overflow rooms, what my understanding of this is we are not voting yes or no on if that should be allowed, like if boycotting Israel should be allowed or not. We're voting to see if that can be put onto the ballot so people can show their opinions. You know, their voice matters. Their vote is their voice, and that is they're voicing their concerns and what they believe. And also for people who like to argue that this is not a like city public kind of problem, like if you're a business in our city and you go to if you're a business owner and you decide to boycott this state, then you'll get penalized for that. And that makes that a local thing. And I hope that all this makes sense, but I am sleep deprived and was not planning on typing. So that's all I have. Thank you.
And we have 27 nays. So the motion passes with 69 nays.